and welcome to the channel. I'm Lexicon, and today I want to continue my Danny Phantom series with a fan favorite, Sam Manson. This might be a somewhat controversial video, since I know she's surprisingly controversial herself, but I do happen to have some thoughts that I just really felt like sharing. So, without further ado, let's get started. I've decided to do this video in two parts, one talking about the changes I would like to make with her design and character, and one giving a snippet of the story and how she would impact it. If you haven't already watched the first Danny Phantom video I did, which I know most of you haven't, you might want to stop by there first since I will be continuing from it. So with that said, let's get into the changes I'd make to Sam. Number 1. While Sam has captured the interest of many a cosplayer, and I mean many, she's never really appealed to me personally as far as appearance goes. She doesn't really come across as goth to me. Now, when I voiced this opinion, I was immediately disagreed with and told that she is very goth looking. Which is fine, I don't really understand fashion in general, even the fashion I dress in, so maybe I'm wrong, but I just really hate her outfit specifically. And if it's supposed to be such a huge part of her personality, why is she not like more upfront, obviously gothic, even for people like me? She's shown to have gothic outfits, like that dress she wore to the school dance with the corset and stuff, so why doesn't she at least accessorize more often? Maybe it's too simple or not edgy enough for me, I don't know. But I'm gonna try to fix that. I think I might go more punk goth, not only because it's one of my favorite aesthetics, surprise, but also because her activism and loud insistence on taking up space reminds me heavily of punk culture. This outfit is meant to be outside of school, but since there doesn't seem to be much of a dress code in the original show either, I don't think it matters too much. Maybe she's just worn the teachers down until they let her wear whatever she wants, or even held enough student protests over the dress code that they gave up. I could see her doing it either. Number 2. She's extremely physically fit, like canonically, but she seems to have the same physical body type as the boys she hangs out with, who are said to be skinny and not in great shape. If you ask me, she should have had slightly broader shoulders and lean muscles she can use for running and doing all those crazy acrobatics and stuff seen in the fitness test episode. I think it was micromanagement. I think she probably wasn't supposed to differ in looks and size too much from Danny or Tucker, because they're supposed to look cohesive as the main 3 characters, but it doesn't add up to me. Especially since we're going to be aging them up a little bit, I want to give her more of an athletic runner's build, like she could really ace one of those horrible school fitness exams. Number 3, Sam is one of those not like other girls people. And yeah, while I do think it's a good character flaw for her, I'd like to see it addressed and done in a little more depth. She and Paulina could be good for each other in a way. Sam would be against consumerism and objectification and hate the way femininity is forced onto her and other people. Paulina could learn this from her, and also teach Sam in turn that being feminine in itself is not inherently bad. The two of them could learn together to broaden their worldview and be less judgmental of those who are different from you. I don't think Sam would adopt any of those quote-unquote girly aspects into her visual design even after the character shift though, except maybe some eyeliner tips of something of the sort. She's very countercultural and hard to market to, and her parents' constant pressure to look a certain way has made her unable to ever look at being girly the same way again. That means, of course, no skirt. Number 4. She's a vegan and animal rights activist, though she still goes with her friends to places that serve meat like Nasty Burger in the show. It'd be cool to do research into legitimate animal rights causes and have her advocate for things like anti-animal cruelty, sustainable farming, etc. She's also very smart and seemed to be able to organize things like speeches and protests. Maybe she does that in her free time sometimes. Also, while it's played for gags in the show, it'd be cool to see her actually be good at cooking and bring her own homemade vegan food to lunch instead of eating literal dirt. Maybe she could show Danny how to get more vegetables in his diet and stay healthy when his mental state starts to go down. She'd do a lot of research into her vegan diet and make sure to be as balanced as possible, and eat plenty of protein to keep up with her athletic hobbies. Number 5, she also enjoys regular goth things like poetry and accessory making, and she attends poetry meetings or something similar at the Skulk and Lurk bookstore. All this takes up a lot of time, and people start to miss her when she starts taking rain checks to help Danny fight ghosts. However, even though she enjoys all her extracurriculars, she does it not because she likes all the running around, but because her parents drive her up a wall and try to squash her independence whenever she's near them. They're very conservative and stubborn people, and they've tried going through all kinds of unlicensed quote-unquote family therapy options to fix her. She and Danny actually bond over their mutual dislike of their parents, though Sam sometimes feels like he takes his own for granted because from her perspective, having parents who actually love you is unheard of. Sam has a lot of walls up with authority when it comes to that, and she can come off as very aggressive and pushy when she wants something to go a certain way because she's used to pushing very hard to get even the tiniest bit of leeway. This makes her incredibly good at setting and keeping her own boundaries, but also abrasive and bossy to other people, and she might have a problem with invading theirs. Number 6, I just really want her to have a fight with Dash at some point. I really want to see that. Preferably in defense of Danny. Maybe it can be the inciting conflict of an episode where she gets grounded at home and they have to sneak around to fight ghosts, or there's a ghost in her house and she has to deal with it alone. I need the Dash versus Sam fight in my life, and I can't explain why. Yes, that's this whole point. Number 7. While being Jewish isn't a huge part of her characterization in the show, it does make some appearances, so I think it would be cool to show her celebrating Hanukkah alongside Christmas for the holiday episodes. It could also be cool to have some Jewish imagery in her house, or maybe even on her clothes sometimes. Okay, so with all those points out of the way, I think we have a pretty solid foundation for a character. Now let's tie her in with Danny, who we did last time. Danny and Sam's relationship is really, really weird. Though I like it in concept, they have a lot of awkward will they won't they moments. And it's all sort of rushed in the very last episode. If I had a say in it, Danny and Sam's ship would be a slow burn like in the show, a good friends to lovers, but with fewer will they won't they's and more just a natural reaction. Despite being Arrow Ace myself, I do enjoy a good love story, but I can't stand the back and forth light switch types that rely on supposed chemistry I can't exactly detect. Yes, I watch Miraculous. Yes, I know that contradicts what I just said. Whatever. I think they just start off as really good school friends, and then bond over the course of the series and over this huge secret they're keeping. When Danny gets his ghost powers, she first blames herself for pushing the button and tries to help him in any way possible. Over time, once they grow accustomed to the changes, she develops an overwhelming curiosity and fascination with his condition. Danny is at first delighted to have this much of a girl's attention, even if it is a close friend's. But over time, he starts to feel like he's under a microscope, and they have to talk about how Danny is still the same person. It's a touching moment for the show, illustrating Danny's growth and his ability to set boundaries, and Sam learning the emotional intelligence to accept and even be happy for him about it. It would be even more fitting if she were the one to teach him to set those boundaries, only to have to face them later as the aggressor and realize she can be on the opposing side of that issue too. I feel like that could be a good character arc for them, and I definitely want it to be pre-relationship. Nothing makes a fanbase turn on a ship like any kind of character flaw or imperfection, unfortunately. Tucker, though I'm trying to save his stuff for his own video, would be the kid trying to quietly set them up in the background, which could work for a lot of visual gags on screen when his plans fail due to the complete obliviousness and stupidity of his friends. Far from my intent to turn him into a comic relief third wheel, though, Tucker is the glue that holds this teen trifecta together. I feel that he's the one who'd have the only good set of parents, and though he's a little awkward when making friends, he's genuinely good at sniffing out feelings and being someone's shoulder to cry on. Anyway, like I said, trying to keep Tucker to his own video because I do have a lot of ideas for him. Moving on to our storytelling section. Danny and Tucker met Sam when they were in middle school. She was a strange girl, not really the type they'd usually look for attention from, and at first they ignore each other. However, they bonded over their favorite online MMO, Doomed, and she's willing to be seen with them even though Danny's practically the laughingstock of the school with his weird parents and their ghost hunting obsession. Once she learns about this, she's immediately enamored with the idea of ghosts, and after that, their friendship is born. The boys don't really get Sam even to this day, but that's fine. She's their headstrong goth friend who cares a whole lot about animals, and she is great at Doomed, so they get along. She doesn't really love when they talk about girls in their grade, though. She thinks they're really gross, and sometimes won't talk to them for a few days if they say anything too lewd. Eventually, though, something happens to glue these three together for life. Sam and Tucker follow Danny into his parents' basement to watch him destroy things in a fit of anger. She wonders if, maybe, this was caused by her constant talking about standing up to parents and taking a stronger stance against people who have wronged her. Maybe this is her fault in the end. Maybe it's her fault he's walking into the portal shaking with anger and wearing that horrible smile. As if to cement that, she pushes the button to turn the useless portal on. Of course, none of them expect anything to happen. The Fentons were nut jobs after all. Why would it work? Maybe it would get their attention. Maybe it would... But her thoughts are cut off by Danny's horrifying scream of pain. She and Tucker rush him upstairs to Sam's car to get help, but by the time they're at the hospital, Danny seems to be fine. He's talking, walking, and doesn't seem confused beyond what you'd expect. A little freaked out, sure, but they agree in the parking lot that it's best not to tell any doctors about freaky ghost stuff if at all possible. It's not like human doctors could fix that kind of thing anyway, and he doesn't have any normal side effects that they can see. They spend a while talking in that parking lot, before eventually deciding to sleep over at Tucker's house. Tucker is the only one who has a good, steady relationship with his parents, and though it hurts Sam a little bit to be there and to see how loving they are, she also knows it's the best thing they can do for Danny right now. So they stay the night, but they don't sleep. Instead, Danny has a sudden and insatiable curiosity for everything he can now do with his ghost powers. Tucker's a little shell-shocked still, but Sam, once she overcomes the unease about it, is just as involved in their quote-unquote experiments. This continues for a while after. The Fenton parents never end up finding out what happened to their equipment, Danny explains 2 days later at school, because Jack is convinced it was done by a rampaging ghost. Sam brings up then, why haven't any more ghosts come through? The portal's still open. That's when the first ghost appears. The ghost of an older lunch lady Sam used to have beef with, because, well, they had an argument about ethically sourcing beef, and now she's back to revenge to make the big-headed vegan kid eat the school burgers. Sam, Tucker, and Danny all work together to scare the ghost away, and Danny tells them his parents have devices that can capture the ghost if they show up again. The three of them go back over to Danny's house that evening and stock up, and Danny's parents teach them how everything supposedly works and what to do with it, though they do seem to be malfunctioning a little since they keep targeting Danny. Sam laughs it off and assures them it's probably nothing Jack can't fix. They return to the school the next night, and Sam is taken captive by the ghost of Brenda the lunch lady. However, Tucker gets her attention with a conversation about school lunch quality and appeals to her desire to feed kids correctly. Danny surprises and manages to distract her long enough with the fight for Tucker to free Sam, and she sucks Brenda into the Fenton thermos just before Danny can get his butt kicked. They celebrate, then immediately go home and sleep for 12 hours like regular teenagers. Thus, the series begins. Sam's character-centric episodes are first dedicated to showing her relationship with her parents and the other girls in her grade, as well as all her extracurricular activities, and then eventually evolve more into her learning how to be kinder to people and differentiate between how she should act around her friends versus around her emotionally abusive parents. She still remains standoffish and a quick judge of character, but learns to empathize with others and loosens up a little around her friends. She and Paulina go from enemies to sort of friends over time. And she even helps Paulina overcome her appearance-based insecurities in the episode with Penelope Spectra, which I would want to be a big several-episode arc on the same level as Reality Trip. She and Danny finally come to terms with their romantic feelings a little while after the Valerie Gray catastrophe, and they stay together after that, holding a proper, healthy relationship where she learns to be nicer, and he learns to uphold his boundaries and look out for himself. By the series' end, Sam is shown to have grown a lot, and she's even published a poetry book by herself that sells pretty well and makes her parents admit that maybe it's not so shameful to be true to yourself. So, that's the end of my thoughts for Sam Manson. What do you think? Do you like her new design and character, or do you prefer the original? Do you like the direction I took her in? Let me know, and also let me know what character you want to see next, or if I should leave this where it is. Also, please comment, like, and share, and tell a friend who likes Danny Phantom as much as you do. I'll be completely real with you all for a second. My numbers have been really suffering, and while I care about the content and my passions more than the reception, I do need to improve my numbers to make this a viable option to continue. So thank you so much for anyone who supports the channel in whatever way you feel is deserved. It means so very much to me, and it keeps me excited for every new video I come out with. Speaking of which, if you want to see your OC drawn, go watch this last OC video. I set the like goal to 150, which didn't seem like that much in comparison to the last one, but it didn't get nearly as much reach as the first, so everyone submitting is going to need some help to get their OC drawn. Stop by and drop a like if you want to help reach it. If you want to see more art I do for myself or art from older videos, I occasionally post to my Instagram under the same name. Drop by and see if that's something you want to follow. As always, thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end. If you had fun here today, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. A second of your time helps more than you know, and I'm grateful for everyone. With that said, I'm Lexicon, and I'll see you next time.